This is the scene on the U.S. southern border at Del Rio, Texas. Where are the Haitians now? Are more coming? Is the Biden administration in the country prepared for another mass onslaught? Well, joining us to share his thoughts is the former U.S. Acting Secretary of Homeland Security, Chad Wolf. Mr. Wolf currently serves as a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Chad, it's good to have you with us. So where are those Haitian immigrants who just last week were living in squalor at that makeshift border camp, and only several thousand were sent back to Haiti? So where are the rest?
Well, it's good to be on with you. Thanks for the invitation. I would say that the vast majority of those Haitians that were under the bridge in Del Rio have been released into the United States. The DHS secretary has said upwards to 12,000 of that 15,000 have been released into the interior of the United States while they undergo their immigration court proceedings.
Where do you think they are? Do you have any information on there? Where did they send them? Where in the U.S.?
They're usually along the border, in communities along the border. They then hand them over to nonprofits, and those nonprofits, along with the federal government, fund their transportation to anywhere in the country they would like to go. So if a migrant says, I want to go to Seattle or Chicago or New York or Atlanta, they are put on a train, a bus, or an airplane to be flown to that city of their choice.
You know that some people are saying that they're being sent to red and purple states, not only for labor reasons, jobs to fill, but also political reasons. What are your thoughts on that, Chad?
Yeah, I don't know that I would agree that it's being done for political reasons. It's certainly for economic reasons. Most of these migrants have a place in mind that they want to go. They usually have family in those places and they usually have some type of employment or a job lined up as well. So a lot of these migrants know exactly what they're doing as they cross that border, as they're being released into communities. They know exactly where they want to go and how they get there.
Many Americans are outraged that they may lose their jobs because of the federal vaccine mandate, yet migrants entering illegally into the U.S. are being allowed in without any vaccine required. So what have you learned? Have any of them been tested for COVID-19, other health issues?
Well, I think the administration, the Biden administration, certainly has a double standard here that doesn't make a lot of sense to most Americans. Not only do you have hundreds of thousands of folks coming across that border every month, there is no requirement for a vaccine. They have a choice. So the migrants have a choice, but some American citizens have no choice. And the Border Patrol, we're hearing today, will be required to take the vaccine or perhaps risk losing their job by November. That's just in several weeks. So think about that. You have law enforcement officers that are dealing with these migrants and coming into contact with these migrants every day. The migrants have a choice on whether or not to take the vaccine, but the Border Patrol and law enforcement don't.
I don't know why anyone would want to be a Border Patrol agent at this time. It's just crazy the way they're treated. Using reins on a horse, and then they come out and say, oh, they're whipping them. Obviously, they've never been on a horse before. They don't know what reins are all about. Well, how likely is this that we're going to have another crisis before winter sets in, that this will just keep on going?
Well, I think you have to plan on that there will be another caravan or two that come to that border. I think they are incentivized, they being the traffickers and the smugglers, as well as the migrants themselves. They're incentivized because of the success of those Haitians in Del Rio getting across and now into American communities. So they see that it can be successful. I think it's the Biden administration's job right now to break up those caravans, and they need to do that by working with Mexican officials and others. But they also need to do that by not only the messaging, but the policies they put in place. And right now, they are encouraging not only families and minors to come across that border because they've told them you won't be removed. There will be no consequence for your illegal activity of coming across that border. You'll be resettled here in the United States, and you can go on with your life. And so that is a significant pull factor that they really have to address if they don't want to see caravan after caravan approach that border.
And you mentioned smuggling. We've seen meth and fentanyl seizures at the border increase dramatically this year. So how concerned are you about gangs trafficking drugs and even humans?
No, it's a significant concern. Obviously, when you have 15,000 folks under that bridge in Del Rio, it takes an immense amount of Border Patrol time and attention to care for and to process those individuals. And that's time that you don't have Border Patrol on the line, on that international border, making sure that you're not only keeping migrants out, but you're keeping illegal narcotics and other contraband out. And so when you have something like Del Rio, it just sucks up all the resources, and that leaves a void for the cartels. And we have to remember that each of those 200,000 individuals that crossed that border in the month of August paid the cartels between $5,000 and $10,000 each. So that's millions of dollars a day that the cartels are reinvesting into their criminal enterprise. And so it's only making them more bold and stronger by the day.
And Chad, before you go, I've got to ask you about Afghan refugees. Thousands are being brought to the United States. How confident are you that they've been properly vetted, that we won't be letting in some Taliban or other terrorists?
Well, I've got some real concerns about the manner in which the administration not only withdrew from Afghanistan and Kabul, but the manner in which they're trying to vet all of these individuals. You have to remember that the vast majority of folks that they have brought back to the United States are not SIV holders. Those are the special immigrant visa holders. We actually know, or we actually have a lot of information about who they are because they worked with the U.S. military. The vast majority of folks that we have brought into the United States and paroled into the United States are just normal, regular, everyday Afghans who wanted to leave. We have very little information, and so it's actually very difficult to do proper background and vetting checks on these individuals. And of course, we're doing that on the back end. We're doing it when they're already here in the country versus doing it overseas at a safe third country. So I've got some real concerns about the manner and the speed of which they're trying to do these background checks. The system's not designed to do it in the manner in which they want it to be done. And so I think corners will be cut, and we're going to miss things. And it only takes one or two bad individuals to have something significant happen here in the homeland.
Chad Wolf, former U.S. Acting Secretary of Homeland Security, visiting fellow with the Heritage Foundation. Thank you, Chad. We appreciate you sharing your time and insights today.
Great. Well, thanks for having me.